As we mentioned in the news headlines this morning, key day today for the Sky Blues fans. They're hopefully set to find out if their club's coming out of administration. A creditors' meeting is resuming in London, which will vote on whether to agree the company voluntary arrangement. That would complete the sale of part of the club, which is in administration, to a CSU-linked company, a company called Otium. Otherwise, it could be put into liquidation. Although, as we were hearing this morning, there may well be other part options as well. It looks like the decision will be down to the company which runs the RICO, ACL. As we've kind of identified and said all along, they have about 25% of the vote. And they've been involved in lengthy rent row, of course, with the Sky Blues, and the biggest unsecured creditor. Let's catch up again with West Midlands Euro MP Nikki Sinclaire, who's been following the dispute, went on the march, talked at the rally, and also got a meeting with the Football League, which is more than most managed to do. Morning, Nikki.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us this morning. Today, I mean, obviously, we're just kind of watching and waiting, and I guess that's all you can do, but there is an expectation, a hope today that there will be some kind of movement. Do you share that hope?
Well, I share the hope. The latest rumours are that the CVA may not be signed, which is a real disappointment, because I met with the major stakeholders last week. I met with ACL, I went to RICO, I met with CSU representatives, and I just really wanted to bang their heads together. And I told CSU the frustration of the fans and their conduct. They've totally, in my opinion, not anticipated the strength of the feeling of the fans, and I impressed that upon them. But ultimately, today, it's about moving forward. And I think it's right to sign that CVA today. It would secure 300k of taxpayers' money, because don't forget, ACL is half owned by the local taxpayer. It's a publicly owned company. The other half is owned by a local charity. And if the club goes into liquidation, that money will just be shredded. It will be like putting £300,000 through a shredding machine.
Although it isn't as simple as that, is it, Nikki? Because as I understand it, although you're right, I mean, the council has a half share. The council, and you know, this obviously, I haven't seen the documentation, this is what the council are saying, have always said that no taxpayers' money was used to fund ACL. It was all through, they used their ability to get money from grants and various other things, and they've always said it's never been taxpayers' money in there.
Well, actually, I think that remains to be seen. And a couple of things I did yesterday was fire off a number of freedom of information requests. One of the things I was privileged to see last week was a lot of documents that have been lodged with the court, and the statement of facts, which is publicly available, says something different. So, and there's obviously a judicial review coming up, probably to be at the beginning, to be heard in the autumn.
Okay.
So, you know, a lot of that remains to be seen.
So you're erring on the side of caution, aren't you? You're saying, well, look, you know, if there is a possibility this could be taxpayers' money, let's take the most that we possibly can now, cut our losses, as it were, and at least get the money back.
Well, there's that element, but my main element, and the one that I've been involved right from the beginning, and I've said, it's important to keep Coventry City in Coventry. And I believe, after meeting various people last week, that if a CVA is signed, there is a possibility, and, you know, people have been meeting that, you know, Coventry City could play at the RICO on the weekend of the 10th and the 11th. I saw the pitch last week at the RICO. It's absolutely beautiful. It deserves professional football to be played on it. And I still think that is possible. But, you know, if the club goes into... I want to impress on the fans. I don't think the fans get this. If the club goes into liquidation this week or whenever next week, the Football League told me it's likely that the ownership of the club, the golden share, will retain with CSU.
Mm. And so whether you sign a CVA makes not a jot of difference, does it really? I mean, in terms of the future of the football club, the money is another issue, and you're quite right about that. But
yes.
if they don't sign the CVA, and I was asking this all along, so what is the consequence? And you're right. I mean, probably nothing really. And we heard from an expert earlier on this morning who was saying, well, the only thing left in that company, there are no assets in it. It's a shell of a company, but it's where the golden share is. So if the Football League can move that, It's all academic, this is, isn't it, really, in a way?
Well, except for what is the future of Coventry City Football Club? You know, what league does it play in? What does it retain? The manager, the players?
Sure. So what conditions the Football League?
Of Wimbledon. Look at Wimbledon's done, which is amazing. But, that was quite an exceptional circumstance. We've got Newport County coming back into the league this year. It's taken them 25 years. Now, as BBC, I'll plug a BBC documentary tomorrow night, or it's BBC One or BBC Two, about Swansea City, who was at the brink. And look, they survived, they moved forward with cooperation with the council and the owners, and now they're in the Premiership, a successful Premiership club, and they're playing in Europe this season. And what I want to do is just bang their heads together, because that's what I feel. There's no side in this without blame. CISO are to blame, and I quite only say they've got a lot to answer for, but ACL and the council have a huge amount to answer for, and I just want to get both of them and bang their heads together, because the people who are really suffering here are the fans. The Football League are not representing the fans as they should do, and it's a dire situation, and I want to move this forward, and my goal is to get Coventry City playing in Coventry, because I do believe if that game on the 11th is played in Northampton, I think that is the beginning of the death knell for Coventry. I really seriously believe that, because I've seen this with Wimbledon and Selhurst Park. They didn't move back to Wimbledon, and look what happened there.
OK, Nikki, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you. Nikki Sinclaire, Euro MP, joining us on the show.